Hello and welcome to the Reds Report, Barnsley FC's longest running podcast. Proud to be part of the Stockport Fans Network. Valentine's Day weekend. Yeah, Valentine's Day tomorrow. Not much love though between Barnsley FC and the fans. Another defeat, this time away at Stockport County. And to look at the performance, the talking points, and to look ahead at a Yorkshire derby on Saturday. We thought we need to inject some positivity. We need to get behind the lads. But Ian's working. So anyway, Steve's here. Steve, for those people that are listening and not watching on YouTube, just explain what you've got in your hand.
Well, again, I thought it was a children's show. Anyway, no, this is my grumpy dwarf from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I thought it'd make a good substitute for Ian.
Is that your old ego?
I'll sit him there out at where. It looks a bit like Ian, though, I must say.
He does.
Don't tell him though, for God's sake, because he'll.
It's that wise, mature look. Steve, Stockport County. We know they were doing reasonably well. 2-0 down at half-time. 90th minute goal by Davis Keeler-Dunn. Could not help Barnsley slip to get another defeat, failing to pick up points. Another away defeat, which obviously... let's talk about lineup first. Some surprise in here. 4 at the back, Diamond in the middle. Is it fair to say... He said he was doing that because he was trying to counter what Stockport County had to offer. I mean, 2-0 down at half-time.
It didn't work, did it?
Yeah, it's easy to say it didn't work, but first half was probably one of the worst first halves I've seen us. Well, we keep saying this week in, week out.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's just going downhill and downhill, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, let's face it, we've been on about playing like a 4-4-2 of some description for last couple of months. He went with a back 4. Oh dear, you can't really say a lot of nice things about it. I don't think Earl is a left back, especially when you've got 2 left backs on the bench. Personally, I'd have gone with Dejivny and Earl in middle and dropped Pines. He is at the minute looking more of a liability than a footballer, I'm afraid. It looks as though it's an accident waiting to happen. If he don't win that header, he's all over the place. He's falling over his feet. He's trying to run. He's trying to grapple with attackers. As I say, he's just another yellow or red card waiting to happen. But as a back 4, I wasn't impressed with it at all. As I say, when you've got 2 left backs sat on bench, you'd play a proper left back and let Earl play in middle. But that's obviously what he went with.
Yeah, midfield. Kelechi Carlo came in. John Russell obviously played as well, and I'm partnered by Connell and Phillips. Carlo, we don't talk about him much. Obviously, he was substituted, but he always seems to have. He never seems to panic. Seems to have, a pass in him. And listen, it might not always be a groundbreaking pass that leads to a goal, but he was a late acquisition during the summer. We never really heard of him, and then he started playing. Lots of people saying he should be one of the first names on the sheet. What are you making of McQuarrie from what you're seeing?
I like the look of him. Like you say, he can certainly find a pass. He can pass it more than 10 yards, which is a lot to be said for some other players. I was surprised again that he was taken off out of the 4 of them. He was the only one really that did a great deal. Connell, for me, I don't know what's wrong with Connell at the minute. He's really off form. Whether it's that captain's armband, I know we keep saying it. Maybe it's not. Maybe he's just having a bad season. Phillips yet again in and out, goes missing. Seems to be going down the same track as Herbie Kane did last season. He's not got his move, so he's got face on and he's not going to bother. How John Russell keeps getting a shirt, God only knows. I mean, somebody commented on a show last week saying Russell were one of the best players we've got this season. Christ knows what he's watching. He must be watching a different team because he's not watching John Russell playing for Barnsley. Because it's diabolical, to be quite honest. And again, there's people there that need to have a look at themselves. But he keeps picking them. And that's another... It's just questionable. It really is. It makes you wonder, has he lost plot? Is he just trying to prove a point at board? If that's the case, he shouldn't be proving a point at board when it's costing us points.
It was weird, wasn't it? Because when he took Rodriguez off and he made some changes, Joshua Dyer was on the bench, and he was only the really recognised striker. And obviously, he then, and name completely gone, but he put the left wing back on, didn't he?
Ferrugia up front.
Ferrugia came up front. Now,
why?
In the press conference today or during the week, it's come out that he said that Ferrugia has trained better and had more to offer. And he has played there before. It's not like it wasn't one of... But then I wonder, well, why then put Dyer on the bench? It's a bit of an insult. And to a young lad, they need boosting, don't they? And when you're 2-0 down, I just... If you buy Ferrugia and he's done a lot in training, why not start him then?
That's your point. If you're going to play him, if you're going to play him in a more attacking role, play him on left wing. Play him instead of Connell. Play him instead of Russell, and play him in a position that he's used to. Don't play him up front. So I'm not being funny. He didn't do out. If that's a position that he's played in before, now I shouldn't have bothered if I were him, to be quite honest. DKD again. All right, he got goal. It was lucky. He ran about, but again, I don't think he's playing in his right position. And like you say, you've got a young lad there, Dyer, who's a proper striker. Some might say he's not very good. We don't know. We've not even seen him, but he's a striker, and that's what we're crying out for. Don't get him off bench. Get him ready and start showing him tactics board like they did, and then sit him back down and don't bring him on. Don't understand it. What's the point? It obviously wasn't working. But I don't know. I just questioned his tactics on Saturday. I questioned his formation. Certainly questioned his substitutions yet again. And I just don't know. Like I said, if he's trying to prove something to board, don't do it in a game that actually we need to get some points out on. Just to say, oh, 2 fingers up to you, because that's not gonna help anybody. Yeah,
it's Clement Rodriguez started the game. Obviously, he came in on the last day of the winter window closing from the second or third tier of the French football. Now, obviously, only had a couple of days. That was on the Tuesday, so he only had a couple of days. He did play the first half. It's hard to make an impression when you only play 45 minutes, and I think in the beginning he was definitely getting used to who plays where and where does it go. Far too early to make an impression, but first impression on him, I mean, I just, works hard. You see that, pressing really good.
Felt sorry for him again. I said it last show. I'll say it again this one. I feel sorry for him. He's on Hidington out. He played first half. Whether people say he don't look much or whatever, maybe he's not good enough. But we haven't given him a chance. And let's face it, midfield couldn't find him with a bloody map and a compass. They didn't play a decent ball to him all that 45 minutes. So what is he supposed to do? It was like watching Humphreys, Watters, Woodrow going back, trying to pick a ball up and pulling them out of position. I just want him to just stand on edge of 18-yard box or on bloody penalty spot and wait for the ball to come to you. That's what a striker should be. But they're having to go and chase and try and find ball. And there were nothing, again, from midfield. Very little balls coming through. Naqual is the only one really at the minute that looks to be able to find a pass. But he's playing that deep. He's not been able to get anything to shoot through. It's just such a mess at the minute. Yeah. But from over Christmas, when we beating like Sir Wrexham, etc., we had 4 or 5 really good games where we looked a proper football inside. We were getting mildly excited again.
Yeah.
Whereas now, let's face it, we're wanting to get bored out, do this, do that, do other. Why has this all changed in space of 4-6 weeks? I don't get it. I don't get where it's going. At this rate, we're going downhill, big style.
Yeah, and I think I've seen, obviously, when the window shuts and you look at people and you look at social media and everything and all these various outlets, I get why people are disappointed, because when you listen to the board, when they do come into the public domain and they talk about the ambition is go to the Championship, and you think the players we've brought in are not players that are going to take us to the Championship. And I know it's a group effort and it's not about one player, but you know, clearly looking, besides maybe Keeler Dunn, the players that have come in, you know, we have brought some in, they've gone straight out on loan because they're not deemed good enough. So I don't feel the board, if it's the aim is to go back to the Championship in the next, you know, 2-3 seasons, you can say, right, we're building a young squad and we're staying in League One, but we're not. We were in 5th. We had a fantastic opportunity to strengthen, to bolster, to cement the position and go higher. Yeah. We now find ourselves in 10th, playing Huddersfield on Saturday. And that brings us on. Is it a derby? Well, it probably is, but it doesn't feel like a derby, really. I mean, they'll bring a good away contingency. Obviously, there is the Michael Duff and some of the players that they've got used to play for us. They're on a bit of an awkward run. They haven't won in 4, so you know they've got that in sort of similar to us. The biggest thing I wanted to talk to you about is if you look at the home form, Barnsley over the last 6 matches in the home form at an 18th, 1-2, drew 1, lost 3. Goal difference of -2. In the away form table, Huddersfield are 3rd. They've won 4, drew 1, and lost 1. And the most surprising stat, clearly I was very bored today, is that so far this season, Barnsley, in the last 15 minutes of the match at home, have conceded 9 goals. That's in the last 15 minutes. So, you know, and we know we've seen this before where we're maybe holding on to a draw, it goes into a loss or a draw, you know. Form goes out of the window because you can change your form. If Huddersfield win on Saturday, obviously they go up in the form table. But this home voodoo just continues, doesn't it? And no players have been brought in that we could say, oh, well, you know, they'll help us out. How do you see this one going?
Well, you look at Huddersfield. They got a few players in January window, forward players. We didn't, only the one. It is. I think it is a local derby. It is because Huddersfield's only so far that way.
Yeah, you go past, keep going.
That's it. Keep going, and you're there. So it is a local derby. Yeah, all right. It's not got the, I don't know, the kudos of playing Wednesday or United, but it is a local derby. And on paper, you look at the two teams, and you've got to say that Huddersfield do look a stronger side. But it does all go out at window when it's a derby game. However, the way we are playing, again, you just don't know what team he's going to put out because he changes it every week. You don't know, is he going to go back to a back 5, which he did second half on Saturday? Is he going to try this 4 diamond whatever again? It just, there's no continuity.
No.
And players just can't. They look like 11 blokes that's got the boots on a Saturday afternoon and they've decided to get a ball and have a kick about.
Yeah.
They just don't look. They don't look cohesive. They don't look at times to know what they're doing. They don't look at times to know where they're actually supposed to be playing. Because that midfield, I mean, take your pick, the swap and change, and oh yeah, it's nice to watch, and there's all this lovely movement and what have you. But it means nothing when you get somebody like Russell that's in box and puts it 25 yard wide. Yeah. Looking at it again for Saturday, and you know what, it's getting really, really, really boring. And I know it is, but I just cannot see us buying a win. I really can't. you look at the players that he's playing. Again, I come back to one or two of them that still seem to keep a shirt, and it just beggars belief. Even if you go on Twitter, people are saying, are these players still being picked? But what have you got as backup? Do you know what I mean? You've got Benson sat on bench that's not kicked a ball for a few months, you know, for a fact that he'll break a toenail or something if he comes on. They've sent Yang and Nathan out on loan, which is another one that beggars belief. We're desperate for strikers, and all right, Andy Dallas might not be answer, but he's hardly kicked a ball for us. He went and scored 2 for Morecambe. All right, it's only Morecambe, I know everybody, before you start shouting and bowling. But at least he's a striker. Why did we not just keep him? If we knew we weren't getting anybody in, why send him straight back out on loan? I don't understand a board that we want to go back to the Championship, but we want to do it by only spending 2.5 bob. We want to do it with players that we've picked up from, you know, cheap bin. It just does not make sense to me. Board, and I agree with a lot of people when they set board. It's about time they get away. They're not football people. They're never going to be football people. They're running a business, and they're not even particularly good at doing that. I just can't see any light at the end of any tunnel, unless that this free agent that's supposedly coming in is going to be a world beater. And what's the chances of that?
Well, can go wide away, can't it? I remember years.
Yeah, it can't. It's only going to go one way. We know it's only going to go one way.
I mean, I know he wasn't a free agent, but can you remember Ricardo Vaste, who was not
he was a great player?
Yeah,
went to West Ham. Yeah.
Yeah. We brought Hamill, who had some issues, and you know.
Yeah. I think we brought Mido in as well, didn't we? Do you want to mention that one?
Well, yeah, I wasn't going to.
Let's leave it at that.
It is Huddersfield, you know. They are where they are in the league, you know, top 6. What sort of welcome's Michael Duff going to get?
I would have thought poor, to be quite honest. If he'd have left in the right way, I'm sure, you know, for what he actually did in that season, we were all impressed with him and we'd have wanted him to stay. But the almighty dollar shattered yet again, and off they went, thinking that grass is greener. And now look where he is. All right, he's not doing bad with Huddersfield, but I think he'll get the reception. I'm not saying shout and bawl and swear and call him alt names under the sun, but I shan't be clapping him because again, where he left, he had to go. He went for money, fair enough, but don't expect an handshake and a smile when you walk back in building.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I fully agree with you, but then in the back of my head, I'm thinking we see this board, don't we? And they're not backing managers. They're very much, you know, they want a 5-star Michelin flipping meal and they give you, you know, 4 eggs and 3 slices of bread. Well, you can't do it. They're not backing them. So I sort of get, if you're ambitious and you want to do well, I get it. I think he could have given it longer because obviously he did wonders. There is talk about protests at the match. People talking about coming in late. You know,
I don't understand that. I don't want to go in first place, so going in late is even worse for me. If I'm going in late, I'm going in that late. It's evening time, and I'm going for a pint in town. I'm not actually going into the ground. I'm not going in late.
If you come in at 3 o'clock, at least we're still drawing. Because if you come in at 10 minutes past,
it could be out. Yeah. I mean, I get it. Of course, I get it. And I'm fully behind protesting at the minute because board is not delivering on what they're saying. They're saying something out of their mouth, and there's basically something else coming out of their arse. Protests. Yeah, protest as much as you want, and I get it. Of course I do. But are they really bothered? Are they even going to be there tomorrow? I mean, let's face it. We haven't heard a say no to Julianne Key for God knows how long, because she's obviously packed it in as a bad job. There's no presence there. You just don't see anything. And when they do the press or they do a little YouTube video or whatever, it's always in-house. They don't talk to, like Adam said last week, didn't want to talk to BBC. You don't want to talk to people that are going to ask them proper questions that we need answers to. it's all staged, and nah, I've no time for it. No time for it.
It feels very much like they're not open to being questioned, because any good business leader, wouldn't it? Like, if things are not going well, you should be able to say, it's not going well. We're having a look to see what we can do, blah, 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 blah. But it becomes almost indefensible, doesn't it? That you bought somebody from France, and now we're talking, and I get it, free agents, but if they're not with the club, is it going to take 3-4 weeks? Because by then we could be, I don't know how far we're off from relegation, but you know what I mean? So it just feels like, I get it. It's a video and you can watch it and talk to the director of football and all fantastic. But it's not, because it's in-house, it's the easier questions, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Of course it's not what we want to hear.
No.
And we'd take it a lot better if they were honest. Come out and be honest. Yeah, we've had a tough year. We've had to pay this, and this. We had to pay Collins off because I bet that weren't cheap. So we haven't really got a lot of money. We're going to try and consolidate in League One. We'd like to push for Championship, but we're realistic and we may not be able to do it this year. At least be honest about it. Don't come out with this bollocks that says, oh, yeah, we want to be in Championship because that's where money is and, we want better players. But you're talking rubbish. Absolute garbage. It's just not happening. And you're not proving to us either.
And nothing is being built for long-term success, is it? I mean, when's the last time we had a manager longer than than 2 seasons? I mean, that seems ages ago, doesn't it? That we had somebody for 2 full seasons. So there is something, and I get it. When money goes calling, you saw it with Struber and, other ones that have gone. But if you're part of something special, you see also managers that stay where they are because they want to see that journey through, because there is a togetherness, there is a plan. It just feels a little bit that, all that is missing. And I'm just looking at those stats again, by the way. So far, over the whole of the season, 16 goals conceded, home and away in the last 15 minutes, which, when you then look at Huddersfield, who've conceded 3 in the last 15 minutes. So, if anything, if we're going to get a result, we need to have it on the board before 75 minutes, otherwise.
Well, that's something else, isn't it? That makes you wonder if they're that knackered for the last 15 minutes, are they tired? Are they uninterested? Are they not invested in it? We've got 27,000 coaches sat on bench. What are they doing in training? Do they not do stamina training anymore then? Or do they not have a run round pitch? What are they doing in training? I watched Liverpool Everton last night. Enjoyed it. Great game. Proper game of football. Proper derby. Ended up fating it and lot of them. Fantastic. That's what you want to see. I want to see some of this back down at Oak. Well, I want to see some passion. That kid who hurt his knee, who went off. All right, you might call him a wuss. He's crying in his shirt or whatever. But he was showing some passion for the club. He was genuinely upset at having to go off because he wanted to play against Liverpool for Everton. Yeah. And it's this sort of passion we want to see, and we just don't see it anymore. We really don't see anything like that from any players, and that to me is it makes it's just really disappointing. We're trying to get behind them. We're trying to bolster them up and give them that bit of a G up and try and be as positive as we can. And by Christ, it's fucking hard. It really is. Yeah. But show us some on field, for Christ's sake. Sorry, am I swearing? I'm sorry if I apologise for swearing again.
Absolutely fine. Another stat I want to put to you. I don't know if
you're on with your stats today, aren't you, lad?
I know. If every game in League One this season finished at half time, Barnsley would be second in the league.
Wow.
Stockport first, they would have 51 points. Barnsley would have 49. Birmingham 47. Wrexham 47. Mansfield 45. Huddersfield 44. Again, it paints a picture, doesn't it? And you could say, are they running out of steam? We know we could see the lot towards the last 15 minutes of a match. Is that to do with having no strength in depth, with substitutes that are putting on that are, it's a body but in quality maybe. But yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? So should we, if we walk out after 45 minutes on Saturday and we're winning, can we take that as 3 points then? Or
that's your protest for you, isn't it? Don't go in 8 minutes late. Get in there on time. And admittedly, if you're going to have a pint or something to eat, get it in time before you go down, because it'll be probably better and taste better and it'll be cheaper. Get in for proper time. First 45 minutes, whistle blows, bump, done, back up in town. Happy days, 3 points in bag. What more can you want? And whatever happens in second half, then we don't care.
Yeah. Just talk you through. I'm just gonna before we finish up. I'm just gonna talk you through the Huddersfield lineup, because we know that there are some ex-Barnsley players there. Although only one of them started last Saturday in the 0-0 draw against Reading, and that was at home. I didn't know if they played that Tuesday, by the way, but this is last Saturday. And that was their number 16, which is a midfielder by the name of Herbie Kane.
Isn't he injured though? And there's something come out this afternoon. I've seen something this afternoon on Twitter, and I didn't get a chance to read it. I think, I don't know if it's Kane that's not going to be playing, because it says ex-Barnsley. It says ex-Barnsley star, so it's probably not Kane, then, is it? He can't play on Saturday because he's dropped his wallet on his toe or something like that, and I can't remember where it is. I'm looking now, but I can't see it unless it says anything on Huddersfield one.
I'm just looking at the Huddersfield one. But no, that's just live. There's nothing. No, I can't say anything. But, if you don't play, listen, we should be able to beat Huddersfield, or at least give them a game. It's going to be interesting to see who starts. I don't know. Can Roberts come back now? Has he set his suspension out? Do we know? Or because that's another enigma, isn't it? Early on in the season, right? Okay. Hasn't got the pace, but he's got the intelligence of not needing his pace to get behind the player or get his head in the way, or then got to be messy, let's say, not as efficient as what he was. Red card, so obviously out for 3 matches. But it's important, isn't it, that because experience-wise at the back, you talked about Pines when we started this week's episode, but we need a Mark Roberts, don't we, to lead that back line, to try.
Yes. Yeah, we do. We do need him back, but you need him back fit and you need him back playing well again. Yeah. Pines, I feel sorry for that lad, because when he first started, beginning of the season, obviously we were all chanting USA and all this sort of thing, and he were playing well. But he's another one of these players that just seems to have gone downhill so much.
But he played well in a very established team, didn't he?
But that's the thing. But you're back to what your coach is doing. What are they coaching and what are they training? What are they doing? It's all right having all these fancy free kicks that obviously Uran's in charge on, but what's Restaurant doing? Again, we're back to, is there too many cooks? But there's no answers. Nobody's giving us any answers as to why they all have to tag team on bench and keep sitting up, getting up and sitting down, and getting up and sitting down, and it's just mesmerising at times. I'd rather watch managers getting up and down than watch match.
Go on.
You're going to ask me to score now, aren't you?
Yeah, score, and if there is one Barnsley scorer, for me it's very much a head versus heart situation, but it is every week. So I'll let you go first.
Well, last week I said 2-0, and it weren't far off. I were right at half time. The IC we just stopped while half time.
Right in 89 minutes.
Yeah, well, there you go. Do you know what? And again, I said it last week. I'll say it again this week. I don't enjoy being negative all the time. And I know Mick's there now shaking his head and going, but you're a grumpy bastard. Yeah, I am, Mick. I know that, mate, but that's your fault. I can't see us getting out at all on Saturday. I'm going to go 2-0 again to Huddersfield. I really am.
I tell you what I hope. So this is my heart. I want a really tight match. Maybe not many chances, midfield battles, tackles. And listen, I can still see us losing that, but 1-0. But a good match. But I think from what we've seen from Michael Duff, I think technically he's probably a little bit in front of Daryl Clark, who is quite reactive. And I just think they've been on a bit of a bed run. They probably look at Barnsley's home record and the last 2 matches and say, if we get at these from the beginning, and I think
they don't say out, mate. They can't say out because they're that busy laughing when they look at his own form. So
I fear for Saturday. I really, really do, because I think it could turn really toxic with.
Oh God, yeah, God, yeah.
And I'll go for a 3-1 home defeat, because I just think.
Who's scoring then? Who's scoring? New lad? French lad?
No.
Oh. No. Oh, no.
We're 3-0 down, and in the 82nd minute, we get a penalty awarded.
All right, I've missed that then, because I've already gone.
You're gone by this time, so.
Oh, yeah. I'm gone 20 minutes in when we're 3-0 down.
Listen, if you go into the match, try and enjoy it. If you're going to protest, try and keep it peaceful, and always remember, and I know I get slack for this, but there are kids sat around us. So,
true.
Just mind the language. And if you're going to do something, do it where it makes a difference. I sort of agree with what Steve said earlier. I'd get there for 3:00, and I'd leave. Go. I can't because I'm volunteering and I'm working there. But I want it to be so much better, and it just feels that we weren't a million miles off. With a couple of clever buys, we could have cemented where we were. It just feels like we're sliding, and nothing's going to stop that, is it? There's nothing going to stop it. So we hope to be back next week with a bit more positivity. But you have been listening. Well, yeah.
We're trying. We are trying.
If it's really bad, might have a week off. Who cares? Steve, thank you very much, as always.
No problem.
You said 2-0. I said 3-1. For a fact. Well, I was going to say, for a fact they're going to nick a home win, but that's not going to matter, is it? It's not going to happen either.
It'd be nice, though. I'll take it.
100%. You've been listening to the Reds Report. We will be back next week. Well, we hope. Get behind them. Well, you can. You Reds.